Hello and welcome to the Spirit Safe. My name is Rob. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Now, as most of you know, I live in Vancouver in Canada, which is one of the more expensive places to buy Scotch whisky. Those who live in BC in Canada will know very well the problems we have. There's a government monopoly, there's lots of taxes and a weak currency as well. So it all conspires to make Scotch very, very expensive. So let's think about what we can get for under 60 Canadian dollars in terms of Scotch. Well, you know, there are a few blended Scotches, but it's not a blend, this is a single malt. Okay. There are some Scotch single malts from an unidentified distillery, so it's called like Dave's Single Malt, and the distillery isn't disclosed. Those are cheaper, you can pick those up for less than $60. That's not what we have here. Okay, there are some Scotch single malts from a distillery that's identified on the label, but they tend to be bottled about 40% and chill filtered and not particularly good, sometimes without age statements as well, or with very small age statements. But that's not what we have here. We have a Scotch single malt from a named distillery with a 12-year age statement. It's bottled at 48% and it's non-chill filtered, and it costs me less than 60 Canadian dollars plus tax. Not very many, those who live in BC will know that there aren't very many things that fit that description. So let me introduce you then to the Glen Garioch 12-year-old Highland single malt. As I say, bottled at 48% non-chill filtered. As for artificial colouring, it doesn't say on the label here, but I suspect there might be a little bit. I won't hold that against it for the price. Again, I think the regular price is $59.99 Canadian. I paid something like 57 Canadian plus tax, which is, as I keep saying, really rather cheap. Packaging, I think the first time I bought this was in about 2007, and I don't think the packaging has changed since. I mean, it's very 2005 style packaging. Glen Garioch Highland Distillery is owned by Morrison Bowmore, who do quite a lot of chill filtering on things that are twice, 3 times the price. Really don't understand how that all works. Just pour myself a small one tonight. So I've had this bottle open for quite a while. I picked it up because of the price and because I tried both this 12-year-old and the no age statement Founders Reserve and found that the 12-year-old was the better of the two for me. And with the price being so low and with there not being too much in it, I thought I would go for the 12-year-old once again. And it's been so long since I've had it last. I've forgotten what it was now. Sorry, my son's having a coughing fit next door. Okay, so it's a very nutty nose. I get Brazil nuts, some kind of nutty malt, bit of crushed almonds. There is an alcohol note and something very oily, like perhaps motor oil. A hint of desiccated coconut. And because this was matured in both bourbon and sherry, there is a bit of a kind of dry eucalyptus note from the bourbon casks, and a lovely rich, well, it's not the very best sherry note, but there is some sherry in there as well, which comes across as oddly quite rum and raisin. There is a bit of dark rum that I pick up in this as well. Yeah, I do pick up the dark rum and raisin note. There's a hint of spice that goes in with the alcohol, kind of a nutmeg, cinnamon note. and a gingerbread that's more ginger than bread. And a stem ginger note, really, more than gingerbread. I won't try this with water this time, but last time I added some water. I got more fragrant wood smoke, almost an incense note, and a bit of Asian pear as well. Quick blast of maraschino cherry, brown sugar, maple syrup, but not quite as sweet as you expect it to be, a bit of a tickle of alcohol, more of the cinnamon and nutmeg, and it fades then to a salty maltiness. And a bit more salt is beginning to appear on the nose. Bit more sherry that time, but it's a real salty, nutty mouthfeel. Rum and raisin. Really rather good. I think the first time I picked this up I was very much a beginner and I was looking at the price tag. Now, not so much a beginner, still not an expert, and I'm looking at the price tag when I picked it up. I don't think this is really for beginners. I think it's one of the more complex, one of the more challenging ones I've had in the last 6 to 12 months. It is quite a big thing, quite difficult to peel back the layers. It's in a slightly odd place because the beginner will buy something cheap to start off with, might buy this and not get the most out of it. The experienced Scotch drinker or the person that buys things in order to have them on the shelf and show them off won't buy this because it's very, very cheap and nobody's going to be impressed with the sight of it on the shelves. So it's in a bit of a no man's land, really. Chocolatey finish, actually. Dark chocolate. But I recommend it. If you're experienced with single malt scotches, buy this, put it on the shelf, see how you go on with it, try it with a little water. I really think for the price, I mean the long introduction that I gave about how expensive Scotch is and how cheap this is, relatively speaking, I think that really speaks for itself. It's you can't go wrong for the price. So for experienced Scotch drinkers, it comes highly recommended by me, and I think I would probably buy another bottle of this in about 12 months' time to see how my palate has changed, to see whether or not my experience has grown and I'm able to gain more enjoyment from it. Already I enjoy it, but let's just see how I cope with more challenging malts as time goes on. Okay, thanks very much everybody. We'll meet again soon. Bye bye. Cheers.